Hello, welcome to a tutorial on the current Paper1 PredPrey. This is for the upper sixth. Some people are calling it Rabbit and Foxes. I think the official AQA name is PredPrey, but it's for the 2017 Paper1 upper sixth full A-level exam. I will probably do a few videos for the flower sim as well, but this is definitely for the upper sixth one. I am sorry this has taken a little while to get going, but now the coursework's in and it's Easter holidays, hopefully I can rattle off a few. Right, I always start with validation. AQA, every single Comp1/Paper1 in the past has had a bit of validation. Let's check that you know how to do validation. Either you're going to chuck a loop in, chuck a try-catch in, have the input, and then use an if statement to sort of test that input. If you don't know what a try-catch is, you need to look that up in your language. The alternative, we use a try-catch to filter out any presence of type checks. We whack in the input, we test it with the if statement, and if the validation fails, we have a default value. So the difference is, this one will keep on looping around until you enter a good value, and this one, if you don't enter it correctly, bosh, gives you a default value. In the past, AQA have used this model. So where are we likely to actually have to use this? The only place I can think it's going to be used is in this set of custom settings. Could be for one, could be for the whole lot, and my gut is that it would be for the default values, but we're going to do both. Let's look at the looped version. I'm really hoping that you're familiar with this code. I'm assuming that you have worked your way through it, played around with it. If you've got no idea what the default or custom settings are, and you don't know the different modes, this is going to make no sense to you. You need to spend a bit of time. I don't tend to do videos where I talk through the structure of the code. I think you can sort of take yourselves. So, where are we going to start? I'm going to just do it for the randomness. Okay, so obviously you could apply this to any of them, or you could apply it to all of them, but let's do some looped validation for the randomness. First thing we need to do is create a boolean. This is going to control our loop. I'm going to preset it to false. Next thing, we need to set up a loop, and all we're going to do is just keep looping until this valid value boolean equals true. Right, now let's whack in our try-catch. So, certainly for some of these, in fact for this as well, if I don't put in an integer, it will throw an exception. For things like number of foxes, if number of foxes is greater than the number of elements in the landscape, that will put an infinite loop. There's all sorts of things that we would need to chuck a try-catch in for. And for this one, basically we're looking for a presence and type check. If someone hits return without entering a value, it would throw an exception. And if we typed in wibble, that would also throw an exception. We don't want that. So the obvious range is if, I've just realised, it's a little bit naughty. These should be less than or equal to. That if we are negative number or a number greater than 100, if we're talking about percentage, that's not fantastic. I'm sure there's going to be some questions about variability, so if you don't know what variability is about and how it affects the code, I think it's worth you looking into it. There'll be, there's a little set of theory questions that they always ask. There'll be something about variability there. So, what have we got? We've got a do loop, try catch, the input, an if statement. We've got the elements put in as true and false. I do tend to put true and false on every branch. Sometimes you come a cropper with that, particularly if you're doing multiple validations one after another, but you need to play with that. Right, let's test it. Okay, so we've chosen option 2. It doesn't really matter what we type in for these, as long as they're valid. Brilliant. So we're now at the randomness. So let's not put anything in. Okay, seems to have worked. Let's put in the wrong type. Seems to have worked. Let's put in a number outside the range. Another one. Well, let's do a boundary check. 0 should be accepted. And it is. I suppose if we were going to test that again, 100 would be another boundary check, but they always specify exactly what you've got to test it with. So, got a loop, got a try catch, got the ifs, make sure we set our boolean so that it always keeps looping until we have a valid input. The only real change between this and the default values we get rid of the loop. We have all this here. You would have various other checks on the other parts, and in fact you have the try catch over the whole thing, and once you've got to the end here you put another statement and you simply say that if it equals false, then whatever it happens to be. Okay. Clearly, if you had several statements, if you're doing the whole thing, then you could just copy and paste this probably, stick it in and have it in a proper if statement. So those are the two options, one with the loop, two with the default value, both using a boolean, both using the try catch. I really hope you found that useful. If you've got any ideas, or you think I've done something wrong, or you think there's a different way of doing it, please feel free to leave a comment. As long as it's not abusive, I always welcome feedback. I will be producing some more of these in the very, very near future. Thank you, and hope you do well in the exam.